Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to the zoology lecture module. This is our lecture number 6. So, this is the sixth lecture for Animal Kingdom. This is your lecture number 6, and the chapter we are discussing is Animal Kingdom. Till this point, we have basically had this idea about the different types of animals, and we have seen various types of animals based on the habitat they live, the body plan they have, the level of organization they have, the symmetry they possess, the kind of coelom they have, whether they are coelomates, acoelomates, or pseudocoelomates for that matter. We have had idea about the germ layers from which the organisms or the animals will develop. So either the animal is going to be diploblastic or triploblastic. We have had idea about metamerism also. We have seen some organisms whose body is made up of repetitive structures called metamers. We had idea about cephalization. So we saw different animals in which there's no proper head formation, and we saw advanced animals in which head formation is seen. We then saw different types of appendages on which we saw there is variety of animals. Now today we're going to talk about some other organ systems. So there are different organ systems which vary in different animals. Okay, we have had this discussion also where we have analyzed digestive system. We have thoroughly investigated digestive system of animals, and we have seen that there are some animals whose digestive system, rather alimentary canal, is incomplete. Some have complete alimentary canal. Some perform intracellular respiration, and some perform extracellular digestion. So some animals perform intracellular digestion, some perform extracellular digestion. So we have investigated about different types of animals based on the digestive system they have. Similarly, we investigated that based on the respiratory system. Based on the respiratory systems, animals are of diverse types, whereby I've shown you that some of the animals use body surface for respiration, I mean exchange of gases. So here we are talking about what? We are talking about exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we have seen different animals have different strategies. Some use body surface for exchange of gases, some have gills, some have tracheary system, some have lungs, some use their skin for respiration. So animals are of different types based on the respiratory systems they have. Let us today investigate another system that's called the circulatory system. So let us investigate the variety of organisms based on circulatory system. So you know that circulatory system is that system of the body which is responsible for circulation of blood. Absolutely. Not only blood, we have to put lymph into consideration also. So different organisms have, a kind of tissue like blood for transportation of substances in the body, and that blood flows through the circulatory system. Now, animals are broadly divided into two types. So, you have how many types of animals? You have two types of animals. Number one are those animals which have open circulatory system. Open CS is the circulatory system. And another type of animal is that which have closed circulatory system. Blood, it flows in circulatory system, but if your blood, let me make you understand, if the blood actually moves out of the blood vessels, so blood flows through blood vessels, you have arteries, you have veins. If your blood flows out of the blood vessels, so blood here has to come out of the blood vessels, and it is then filled into the spaces. So this blood fills the spaces of the body. It fills the spaces, and those spaces are called sinuses. So the body of the organism has these spaces which get filled with the blood. That means the blood comes out of the blood vessels. Such a type of circulatory system is called open circulatory system. You will see such a type of circulatory system, you'll see this type of circulatory system in which the blood is going to come out of the blood vessels and it's going to fill the spaces in the body. The spaces you call sinuses. This type of circulatory system is seen in arthropods, okay, like insects. So arthropods have this type of circulatory system, and even you have to remember that the fluid which flows in this type of circulatory system in arthropods is called hemolymph. Okay, this is not red in color. It's not red in color as our blood. It's not red. Hemolymph is not red. So you'll find this fluid working as a mechanism for transportation of substances, gases in case of arthropods, but it doesn't remain confined to the blood vessels. This hemolymph fills the spaces in the body, and such a type of circulatory system is called open circulatory system. But as far as this closed circulatory system is concerned, the second one, this closed circulatory system is concerned, which is present in us also. That means mammals, not only mammals, all the vertebrates have closed circulatory system. Now, what do we see in closed circulatory system? We see here that blood doesn't come out of the blood vessels. The blood, it remains confined. It remains confined to the blood vessels. Okay, to the blood vessels. So you have this pumping organ heart, and then heart transports the blood towards the blood vessels. Okay, you have arteries, you have veins, you have arterioles, you have capillaries. So you have a broad variety of blood vessels, and the blood remains confined to the vessels. It doesn't come out of the blood vessels. If that is the case, then you call the system closed circulatory system. And you see this type of circulatory system in vertebrates. Okay, so your reptiles, amphibians, your birds, your mammals all have closed circulatory system. Now, some other points are there which are to be noticed. There are some organisms which have single circulation path, and some follow double circulation path. Okay, so we can analyze this circulatory system in other ways also. So you either see organisms which perform, in which you will see what is happening is single circulation of blood, and you will find others which show double circulation of blood. Okay, so what do we mean by this? It's very simple. Let me make you understand. This you will see in case of fishes. What is meant by single circulation is that in these animals blood flows once through heart. Okay, so here you have to remember, blood flows, yeah, enters once through heart before this blood is supplied to the body organs. So let me write down, before the before this blood is supplied to the organs. Let me make you understand this by a representation. So you made a conclusion over here that in this case, why do we call it single? Because here blood only flows once through the heart. That means the blood is going to pass through the heart once, and then it is directly going to be sent to the organs of the body. So blood doesn't flow twice through the heart. That is the case with double circulation. We'll discuss this in a bit. Let's first of all understand this. So I told you that you will find this single circulation happening in fishes. So what happens here? Let us analyze. Fish heart has only two chambers. So a fish's heart is something like this. So you have this chamber, you have another chamber, and over here you have an accessory chamber which is called sinus venosus. Okay, let me say that this is an accessory chamber. So this one is accessory chamber, sinus venosus. We're not going to label it over here, it will become complicated. This chamber is the auricle or the atrium. This is called the ventricle. Okay, so this is how a fish heart looks like. Now what happens is, all the deoxygenated blood, let me take blue color. So all the deoxygenated blood enters into the accessory chamber. So what is entering inside is deoxygenated blood. Try and understand. So this is deoxygenated blood, which is actually coming from the different organs of the body, which have taken up the oxygen from the blood, and now the blood has lesser oxygen and it has more carbon dioxide. That's why we call deoxygenated, because it is rich in carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is more in this blood, whereas oxygen is less in this blood. That's why we call it deoxygenated, because oxygen is very less. Now this blood, it flows, it goes into the auricle, okay? Then it auricle pumps this blood into the ventricle, okay? Then ventricle pumps this blood out of the heart, okay? And then this blood is sent to the gills. So we remember from the last lecture that gills are the place of gaseous exchange. Now here, exchange of gas will take place. You know, blood has carbon dioxide that will diffuse out into the water, and oxygen will come into the blood. Now the blood which is going to come from here, okay, this blood which is going to come from the gills, this is going to be the oxygenated blood. Okay, this is going to be which blood? It's going to be the oxygenated blood. And this blood will not go back to the heart. It will directly be supplied to the organs of the body. So organs will receive this oxygenated blood. And obviously, once organs will receive the oxygenated blood, the cells of the body will take up the oxygen. And once again, what will come out from here is the deoxygenated blood. And that we know that deoxygenated blood will be given to this accessory chamber. So what about the circulation here? What type of circulation is happening over here? In this case, we saw that this blood is going to flow through the heart only once. You see, only the deoxygenated blood is entering into the heart, because this over here, the greenish structure which we made initially, this was the two chambered heart of fish. Okay, this is the one chamber, this is another chamber, auricle and ventricle. I told you this chamber which actually receives the blood is called the accessory chamber. Okay, this is the accessory chamber, or we call it sinus venosus. The actual heart is this, okay, auricle and ventricle. So you saw that the blood flows through this heart only once. It flows only once through the heart. That's why we call that fishes show, they show which? Single circulation. On the other hand, if we talk about whom? If we talk about the vertebrates, to be more specific, if we talk about the humans, or if we talk about the mammals, to be very specific, if we talk about the mammals, here what we see is that the heart, first of all, is four chambered. Heart, first of all, is four chambered. So let me make a representation. Say, for example, suppose this represents the heart of the mammal. So it has how many chambers? It will have four chambers. You have understood this thing in your lower class. I mean to say class 10. So it will be easy. So heart has four chambers here. You have right, this one is a right auricle, this one is right auricle, this one is left auricle, you can call it auricle or atrium. This one is right ventricle, and this one is left ventricle. So here it was only auricle and ventricle. Here you have right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle, left ventricle. Okay. Now let us see where is the deoxygenated blood going to come. So all the deoxygenated blood, let me take a blue color for the deoxygenated blood. So all the deoxygenated blood is going to come from the body. Let me say these are the body parts. Okay, let me make it very simple. These are the body parts from which the blood is going to come. Okay, so from here the blood which is going to come will be obviously deoxy deoxygenated. Why deoxygenated? Because the body part has taken up the oxygen and the level of oxygen in the blood is now low. So we'll say that this blood is deoxygenated blood. All of this deoxygenated blood will be collected. I'm not talking about the veins which will collect it. I'm making it very simple over here. So all this deoxygenated blood from the upper body parts and the lower body parts will be collected, and it will be poured into the right auricle. Okay, so where is deoxygenated blood coming? Right auricle. Then right auricle will send this deoxygenated blood to the right ventricle. Okay. Now, what right ventricle will do, from right ventricle, this deoxygenated blood, it will be sent to the lungs. So here what we see is the lung. So deoxygenated, let me show it in this way, that way it will become more informative. So all this deoxygenated blood will now be sent to the lungs. So here is it. Here is this deoxygenated blood coming to the lungs. Can you guess why is it coming to the lungs? So this deoxygenated blood is brought to the lungs. Yes, absolutely. For oxygenation. Here blood was given to the gills. Here blood will be given to the lungs. Now the blood which is going to come from the lungs, that is going to be what? That's going to be oxygenated blood. Okay, so oxygenated blood, that means the blood which is rich in now oxygen, that will come out from the lungs, and this blood will be given to the left auricle. So where is this blood coming? It is coming to the left auricle. Then left auricle will send this blood to the left ventricle. Okay, and then left ventricle will supply through the major vein, that means the aorta. This blood will be given to the body parts. So this is how the circuit is completed. So now the blood is going to come from left ventricle and it's going to be supplied to the body parts. So this is which blood coming to the body parts? Oxygenated blood. Okay, so body part will use the oxygen and deoxygenated blood will come out. Now can you see how many times the blood is flowing through the heart? For how many times the blood actually flows through the heart? Here blood was flowing once through the heart. Here blood was flowing once through the heart, but here blood is flowing twice through heart. Blood enters twice through heart. See, I'll show you how. First of all, it is the deoxygenated blood which comes to the heart. Okay, deoxygenated blood is coming over here and it's being sent to the lungs. Then again oxygenated blood is going to come to the heart, and from heart it's going to be sent to the body parts. So during one cycle, before sending blood to the body part, it is going to enter through the heart. It's going to pass through the heart how many times? Twice. That's why we say, we call this circulation double. We call this circulation what? We call it double circulation. Hope this is clear. So you have variety of animals, some performing single circulation, some performing double circulation. So you saw fishes perform single circulation because in them you saw that the blood flows through the heart once. But here you saw that the blood flows through the heart twice before it is actually sent to the body parts. So once the deoxygenated blood flows through the heart, then oxygenated blood flows through the heart, then it's given to the body parts. So blood is flowing twice through the heart. Even we can analyze some more aspects. In some animals, we'll see what is happening is incomplete double circulation. In some organisms, we'll see what is happening is incomplete double circulation, and others will perform complete double circulation. So again, we are talking about blood flowing through the heart twice. Even here blood is going to flow twice, here it's going to flow twice through the heart, but the difference is that in this case you will see what is happening is basically there is mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. That's the difference. Here you will see the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood gets mixed before it is supplied to the organ. You'll see this in case of amphibians. You'll see this in amphibians, okay, because they have three chambered heart. They don't have four chambered heart. They have how many? They have three chambered heart. That means they have only one ventricle. If there's only one ventricle, you can think of the consequence that the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood will get mixed. And if we talk about the rapitials, in them even the double circulation is incomplete. So let me say that rapitials also show incomplete double circulation. They have 3.5 chambered heart. Their heart is 3.5 chambered. So you will have in them like two auricles will be there. So you'll have two auricles, but ventricles won't be two. There will be an incomplete wall between the ventricles. So you'll basically what I'm trying to make you understand is that you will have a situation like what? You will have such situation like there'll be a right auricle, there'll be left auricle. But in case of amphibians, there's just one ventricle. But in case of reptiles, there are there's a half situation. You have 3.5 chamber because there is an incomplete septa. This septa will be completed in case of complete double circulation, where you will have two auricles separated from each other. So what is the difference? See, let me make you understand. In this case, you will have two auricles completely separated, and you will have heart. And in case of heart, you will see that even the ventricles are completely separated. So situation will be like this. Here you will have this is right auricle, this is left auricle, this is right ventricle, and this is left ventricle. So here you saw there will be complete four chambers. But in case of fishes, we saw only two chambers. Okay, let me show you the fish heart over here. In case of fishes, we only saw a situation like this as far as fish is concerned. In case of fishes, we saw that there is just one auricle and one ventricle. So we saw there was a situation, there was a ventricle and there was an auricle in fish heart. Okay, and this was the accessory chamber, a sinus venosus. Okay, so only two chambers in the heart. But if we see the amphibians, they have the three chambered heart, and if you see reptiles, they have 3.5 chambered heart. Again, there will be mixing. There will be lesser mixing of the blood here, but there will be mixing, of course. Okay, and let me write down why we say this. I've already written on the top that there will be mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. But as far as double circulation is complete double circulation is concerned, here there will be what, because of this septa, because of this wall between right ventricle and left ventricle, what we can conclude here is that there is complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So earlier we had shown oxygenated blood with red color. So here we can show that this is the oxygenated blood, which has actually come to this chamber first and then it has flown into this chamber. So oxygenated blood is red and deoxygenated blood we showed with blue color. So here is this deoxygenated blood, which is here. So there is complete separation. Can you see there is complete separation because of this wall? There is separation of deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. But here, obviously, you have deoxygenated blood here and you have oxygenated blood here. So they are not completely separated. There will be, of course, some mixing. There will be, of course, some mixing because the chambers are not completely separated. That's what we call mixing of blood will take place in these two cases, but it will not take place in double circulation. There will be complete double circulation in this case. Okay, and you will see this case where there is four chambered heart that you will see in birds, mammals, and you have to remember all reptiles have 3.5 chambered heart. But once we talk about crocodiles, if we see at crocodiles and we look at alligators and crocodiles are reptiles, but they have 4 chambered heart. So they also have 4 chambered heart. So here all reptiles are not put into consideration. You have to remember, except crocodiles and alligators. So crocodiles and alligators have 4 chambered heart. So you saw that if you look at circulatory system, you will see animals of different types. Some with open circulatory system, some with closed circulatory system. Then you saw some will perform single circulation like fishes, and in some you will see double circulation like vertebrates. And in double circulation, you analyze that there could be incomplete double circulation because of 3 chambered and 3.5 chambered heart, or there could be complete double circulation by means of a 4 chambered heart. So again, you saw variety of organisms, diversity of animals based on the circulatory system. Okay, that was one very important point to understand here. Let us take another system. Let us analyze one more system. Let us take this opportunity to understand about the excretory system. Okay, let us understand about excretory system. So the basic idea behind excretory system is that it's the system which is meant for what? It is meant for the elimination. It's meant for the removal of wastes. And which is the waste we are talking about here is the nitrogenous waste. You have to remember, excretory system is responsible for the removal of nitrogenous wastes from the body. From the body. So we have different types of nitrogenous wastes to understand here. We are here talking about ammonia, which contains nitrogen, urea, which has nitrogen, uric acid, which has nitrogen. So nitrogen containing wastes are called nitrogenous wastes. So let me write down over here for your knowledge. So nitrogenous wastes are those wastes which are containing nitrogen in them. So they are nitrogen containing wastes. Like I can give you an example. If you look at the structure, molecular structure of these molecules, they contain nitrogen atoms also. Okay, here we are talking about ammonia, that is NH3. We're talking about urea, and we're talking about uric acid. They are the 3 versatile examples of the nitrogenous wastes or the nitrogen containing wastes. Where will you find these wastes? They are present in blood, and the process of their removal is done by the excretory system. Now you have different types of animals. You have animals with different types of these excretory systems. Let me tell you. First of all, you have 3 types of animals based upon which waste they produce, whether they produce ammonia, whether they produce urea, whether they produce uric acid. So let me write down on the basis of nitrogenous waste. That means which is the waste which is excreted by the animal. On the basis of nitrogenous waste excreted by an animal, we have what? We have three types of animals, to make it very simple for you to remember. So we have three types of animals based on what? Based on the nitrogenous waste that is excreted by this animal. So the basis will be the nitrogenous waste. The first type of the animals are called ammonotelic organisms or animals. Ammonotelic. The second type of animals are ureotelic. You can guess, it's very simple. Ureotelic. And the third type of animals are uricotelic. So animals are of three types. So you saw three types of animals. But these animals differ from each other based on what? Based on the waste they produce. Okay, based on the waste they produce. Ammonotelic animals, they release ammonia as waste. What do they release? Their nitrogenous waste is ammonia. Ureotelic organisms, in them the waste product is urea, and in uricotelic the waste product is uric acid. Now, who are ammonotelic? Your lower organisms, specifically aquatic. They are ammonotelic in nature. Okay, and bony fishes, the fishes, because you have two types of fishes. You have bony fishes and cartilaginous fishes. Bony fishes are ammonotelic, and lower organisms are also ammonotelic. But aquatic they must be, because they require a lot of water in their vicinity, in which they release this ammonia. Okay, ureotelic organisms include the basic example, first of all, are we people. So we'll write down humans, we are ureotelic, and even the cartilaginous fishes. So they are the fishes which do not have bones. Their skeleton is made up of cartilages. So we call them cartilaginous fishes. They are also ureotelic. Now, as far as uricotelic are concerned, who are the animals who are uricotelic? The versatile example are the insects and the birds. They release uric acid as a waste. So they are uricotelic. Okay. Now, on the basis of the structures, like, in humans, let me make you understand first of all. In humans, in humans, which is the structure which helps us to remove the wastes from the body? We know we have a pair of kidneys which help us in removal of nitrogenous waste from the body. So kidneys help us in filtration of blood and removal of wastes from the body. That means urea. Now, different animals have different structure. Yeah, humans have kidneys, but other animals like your hydra, your flatworms, your roundworms, your earthworms, your insects, they have different structures which are going to perform the similar type of job which is performed by our kidneys, but the structure will be different. So, on the basis of the structure, let me write down on the next page. So, on the basis of structures for nitrogenous waste removal, that means which is the structure which is present in the organism for the excretion, which is the structure present in the animal for excretion, or we can write down simply the excretory structure. On the basis of which type of excretory structure is present in the animal, we have different types of animals. See, there are some animals who are going to use, number one type of animals, they are directly going to use their body surface for excretion. So whatever are the wastes, they are released through the body surface. You'll see this being done by hydra. It doesn't have any sophisticated excretion structure, excretory structure, or any specific structure for the removal of nitrogenous wastes. It releases its waste through the body surface. Very simple. Now, if you look at whom, if you look at platyhelminthes, that means the flatworms, they have flame cells. Flame cells. Remember, flame cells are called solanocytes. They are called they are specialized cells for excretion. So we are here going to name the excretory structures. So flame cells are the excretory structures, and you will find these excretory structures in whom? Flatworms, whom we call platyhelminths. Okay, they have flame cells. Number third, if we go higher, if we look at the roundworms, they have a specific system which is called H system, which we'll discuss later in this phylum. H system, they have a specified system for excretion which resembles English alphabet H. So we call it an H system. It is also called a Rennet system. Okay, so you will find this system in whom? In roundworms. So roundworms, we call this group Aschelminthes. So Aschelminthes have H system for excretion. 4. So that means all the animals will not have the same excretory system. They will have different excretory systems. Like some will have perform excretion through body surface, some will perform excretion through flame cells, others will have H system. If we go higher, we will find a structure called Nephredia. If we go higher, we'll find a structure called Nephredia, which is again going to perform excretion. And you will find this structure in earthworms. Where will you find this structure? You'll find this structure in earthworms. Moving higher, we will find the structures which are called Malpighian. Malpighian tubules. You'll find this excretory structure in insects. Say, for example, cockroaches. They have Malpighian tubules for excretion. Moving further higher, we'll see organisms like prawns. They have green glands. Green glands, and these glands are also called antennary glands. They have these glands for excretion. So green glands are the excretory structures of prawns. Okay. And coming to the topmost organism, that means vertebrates. If you talk about the vertebrates, where we are talking about reptiles, amphibians, birds, mammals. So vertebrates have this specialized structure called kidney. We have kidneys for excretion. So kidneys are present in vertebrates. So what is the point over here? That animals, they differ from each other based on their excretory system also, based on the system which is responsible for the removal of the nitrogenous wastes. So you will have in some, obviously, let us start from the bottom now. So you'll have vertebrates which have kidneys for excretion. You have prawns with green glands for excretion. You have insects with Malpighian tubules for excretion. You have earthworms with Nephredia for excretion. You have Aschelminthes with H system for excretion. You have Platyhelminthes with flame cells for excretion. And you have some organisms performing excretion of wastes through the general body surface. So in this way, you came to this conclusion that animals differ on their, based on their um, organ systems. We had an idea about digestive system, we had an idea about respiratory system, we had an idea about different circulatory systems, and right now we saw the different excretory systems. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we will have a look upon some other systems also. Till then, take care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.